The CW Twin Cities presents See What's Now, your entertainment news source.
Hey everybody, John Foss, CW Twin Cities, and I am at Yellow Tree Theater, and we're talking about The Royale, which is playing right now until March 4th, and I have the cast and crew with me right now. Why don't you guys just go online and introduce yourselves and your role in the show?
My name is David Murray, and I'm playing Jay Jackson.
Austin Van, director.
I'm Santino Craven. I play Fish.
I'm Charles Fraser, and I play Max.
All right. So for people at home that might not know much background about the show, just tell us what it's about.
Me?
Sure.
It's about the first African-American, black heavyweight champion of the world, loosely based off Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion of the world, boxing champ. And it follows his story to becoming the champ, facing the great white hope.
Cool. So it is. So you said that it is based on some truth, but the story has been rewritten a little bit.
Yes, the writer Marco Ramirez took some liberties and changed the name and changed some of his backstory. Okay. But it's still true to Jackson's story, but with certain liberties.
Great. And Austin, how did you take the script when you saw the script? Have you made changes? Do you stay true to the script? How has your artistry influenced what we see now when people come out here?
Well, we have to stay true to the script. But my interpretation of how it is rhythmically and how it lives rhythmically in the world, Marco Ramirez, he created this great piece where it's abstract, and because boxing is about rhythm, he's incorporated that into the piece. And so I just expand upon that because that's part of how I direct. I direct, especially coming from my culture, with rhythm. When Jason called me up to interview me about directing, he asked me kind of what my style was before he even told me about the play. And then he said, I think I have a play for you, because I direct with rhythm, no matter if it's a dramatic piece or musical piece, but I try to stay true to what the playwright intended, what he wanted.
Cool. And David and Santino, you guys are obviously in great shape. You look like boxers. Do you guys have a background in boxing, or what's your history there?
No, not at all. I actually, before this, I never really had an interest in boxing, but studying the character, and I had to get into the gym. I took a number of boxing classes, and I watched a number of fights.
Cool. What about you, Santino?
I don't have much experience with boxing outside of a brief moment in high school where I worked out for a couple months at Circle of Discipline in Minneapolis and learned some basics, basic stance, basic punching techniques and whatnot. But I never competed. I didn't really think I had the temperament to be a boxer.
You did do our sparring choreography.
I did do the sparring choreography. So in the sparring choreography, I used what I learned from the brief moment of training that I had with Circle of Discipline to come up with what the sparring sessions briefly looked like in this piece.
Cool. And Charles, you also went out of your way to fit the part too by growing the mustache.
I did grow a mustache.
Nice work on that. Looks great.
Star of the show
That's
with
right.
the mustache.
Yep. Tell us about your role in the show.
I play Jay's promoter, and I promote fighting, and I'm the guy who's trying to promote the first interracial fight between Jay and the champ, who is white. And so it's my job to get the two of them to meet in the ring, and that's that's the hard part of my job, which we don't get to see in the play, but we see the results of it, and then finally we get to see the actual match between Jay and the champ.
Nice. And I got to hang out with you guys a little bit today, just seeing you guys kind of just hang out behind the scenes, and it looks like you guys have a great camaraderie going on. What is it like working together, and are you guys enjoying it so far? What's it like behind the scenes?
It's been great. I mean,
it's a riot. No. We're a great community of actors, I think, and we support each other a lot. But we also have a lot of fun, and our sense of humor definitely shows throughout the show, I think, as well. Yeah, I think we have a lot of fun, especially backstage before shows.
Yeah, I mean, we joke a lot. I mean, of course, the big joke is the great physique that Santino and David have, but we know that the audience doesn't come to see them with their shirts off. They come to see my hair.
Exactly. Well, I didn't even, the hair looks great, so this isn't real hair.
It is real hair. It is my
okay,
hair. I'm happy
okay,
to say
okay.
that, yeah, I
He
do.
works really hard at
I
it.
work very hard at it. As much as they work in the gym, I work in front of the mirror to make my hair look
You
like
have to.
this.
And it totally pays off. If
Thank
you
you.
spend 3 to 4 hours a day on it, it's
Minutes.
It's
TV
worth it.
Minutes
ready.
I spend on it. It's just torturous.
And that's why people come. They come to see the
How many
hair.
minutes manicuring the
Oh, the
mustache?
mustache, it takes me another couple minutes to do that at least.
And you said the wife has kind of been taking one for the team.
My
there?
wife does not appreciate my mustache.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks to his wife for putting up with it.
Thanks, love.
Great. So this play, it's taking place in February right now. It's Black History Month. Was the timing on purpose, or did that just happen?
I think so. Yes, yes. It's Black History Month, and sometimes we're acutely aware that sometimes programming about African Americans is only in February. But I think institutions like this not only promote diversity during the whole year, but I think specifically it's important to bring out great figures that have changed the world and changed how we walk through the world as African Americans. So I love that the Yellow Tree is honoring Black History Month with this
That's
play.
great. I haven't seen the show yet. What kind of message are you guys hoping to put in the community, in culture, through this play?
Oh, jeez.
mean,
There's so much that we can learn through the lens of other cultures. This play, to me, is not only about his want and his fight to be the champ, but also to have a place in this world, to have a voice in this world. And sometimes you sacrifice. You can be sacrificing yourself, or you could be sacrificing your community to stand up for who you are and who you want to be and your place at the table. And yeah.
Yeah, and I think being the first at anything, we just had, a few days ago, we had a talk back with high school students, and I talked to them about how when I approached this play, I didn't know anything about Jack Johnson at all. Somehow he got erased from Black history that I was taught. I mean, I know who Muhammad Ali is, I know who Joe Louis is, but I had no idea who Jack Johnson was, and he was the first. And so that just goes to show how hard it is to be the first at anything. And I talked to them about Obama and how his struggle of being the first African-American president, and even with that, how much was thrown at him. So I think it's tough, and I think it's important for people to get from the play that you can be who you want to be. It doesn't matter, what the situation, what the time is. Jack Johnson was a man outside of his time. He was an alien in that time. He wanted to be the best. He didn't care what people say. He didn't care that in that time, no one thought that Black people were beautiful. No one thought that Black people could do anything. We're less than men, but still, he didn't care, and he wanted to be the best, and it didn't matter.
May I piggyback off of what you said about being the first? And this is my little soapbox. In 2018, I still find myself being the first something or other, the first Black female, the first Black female whatever, and usually director. And I'm looking forward to the day where we don't have to say that anymore.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be saying that in 2018, that we're the first of anything.
Well,
you
that
know,
kind of sets up where my next question. We've obviously come a long ways based on the fact that we've had many heavyweight champions since this time. We've had a Black president. Things have come a long way in the culture, but I'm sure you guys would like to see things change even more. Where do we go from here?
I think it's pointing, especially with this piece and where we are in our, in the political environment that we find ourselves in as a country. There's always progress happening, and there is a battle in this piece of of progression versus regression. And there's a certain culture, even today, that wants to rewind time to when America was this certain thing that people idolized in a certain culture, and they want to maintain that. And there's always going to be somebody who's trying to fight to break through that so that the world can be a more inclusive, a more cohesive unit as a people, as a globe, as a country. And it's a battle, it's a fight that we as artists do battle with all the time.
That's so true with this play, Inside the Ring, you know, because my character says a lot of things that people as an audience could say, well, he's saying that, but at the time, you know, that was how they talked. But I think that the way I talk in this play could very easily settle right into anyone talking in 2018. There are many people who speak the way my character does in 2018. And we can learn from that by saying, wait, that may have been back then, but I know somebody, even myself, I still talk that way. Maybe they'll see that, and maybe perhaps change could come from that. I don't know. But it is something that I think is telling, that as much as we say it's back then, but it is happening right now, too.
There's also a world where people, unless you see it, you don't acknowledge it. So it's kind of like an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you know,
Not on the radar.
It's not on the radar. So you have people saying, "Oh, this doesn't exist anymore," or "This never existed because we're not taught that in history." So you come see a play like this and be like, "Is that the way people were viewed 100 years ago? 120 years ago?
Yesterday?
Yes, yesterday, today. You know, it's still going on.
And we still have to keep telling the story.
Right.
As much as we get tired, and as much as we think that we have progressed, there's still pockets and communities of people where certain cultures aren't on the radar at all. So they may not even be racist or prejudiced. They just have no idea.
Right.
You know, I love what Canada has to say about their mosaic, where you can appreciate the different cultures. We have a melting pot, and I think sometimes we think that means that you have to assimilate and lose your culture instead of appreciating it and valuing it. And we take so much from different cultures anyway. Our music, our art, our math, you know, from different cultures, everything. And so if we didn't have different cultures, we wouldn't have America. But it seems like we think that we have to become one homogenous, cyborgy thing instead of just appreciating each other and seeing. Don't be colorblind. It's okay to see it. It's beautiful to see it, you know?
Yeah. And you guys are part of the Twin Cities theater community, which around the country is one of the most respected cities for theater. What does it mean to you guys to be part of that community, and what makes the Twin Cities such a great theater community?
We're amazing. We are. There's about 78 theaters. Is that correct? About 78 theaters, and yes, you should move here. Listen, yes. What's great about it is, especially if you're more interested in art than you are about fame and money, is that you can do your art here, and it's supported by your community. It's supported by grants and institutions and sponsors and patrons, and that means you can have your family and have a house and a car and eat food and concentrate on your work, where if you live other places that are that make you have to be a waiter or, you know, sell oranges on the highway, you know, it's hard to focus on what you really do.
Yeah, we interview a lot of film and TV actors from all over the country, and one of the things that they mention, like when we say we're from the Twin Cities, is that they were in a play here or a show, or just how great the theater community is in general. So congrats on being a part of that. And I have seen some reviews of the show, and they seem great. And I've seen reviews that say that this is one of the best shows in the Twin Cities this year. Do you guys have any awards that you think may be on your radar that you're hoping to win?
We don't get into projects with the hope of winning anything. We get into it because we are drawn to some facet of the art that is being produced in a particular play. And we have been fortunate enough as an ensemble of actors to bring this show to life and have it be appreciated and mentioned in the light that it has been mentioned in. But we also we pour our hearts and our souls, our blood, sweat, and tears into this play every time we do it. You know, I mean, you know, David and I are sore. Tired. You know, I mean, it is a physical. I mean, the show is about 75 minutes long,
but it's nonstop.
But it takes off like a rocket, and it doesn't slow down.
So the show has a lot of physical aspects too.
A lot of physical, yes, and musical aspects that aren't typical musical aspects. So they had to learn rhythm and abstract ways of moving and accentuating things. There's rhythm throughout the whole thing. And then to infuse that with your emotions and with the text that moves like this. It's like a machine gun, lightning speed text that's happening, and it's poetic. And it's absolutely beautiful. Marco Ramirez put his foot in this piece. It's really beautiful.
Anything else you guys want to add?
Come see David L. Murray as Jay Jackson. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Come see Charles and his hair.
Yes. Right. And their 9-packs.
It's not
Do you guys have to like work out all day and then do the show?
All day. I'm going to the gym after this.
Yeah.
Wow, that's got to be a long day.
I'm not.
All right. Well, Charles, Santino, Austin, David, thank you guys so much for being with us today. In Twin Cities, make sure you check out the Royale. It's at YellowTree Theatre in Osseo. It's showing right now until March 4th, and go to YellowTreeTheatre.com to get more information.